right, so welcome back to our live. We're gonna try this again. And we'll see how it goes. Hi Jean, we're just trying to figure out technical difficulties right now. We'll be getting started here just shortly. All right. Okay, we're gonna get this going. It's gonna be okay. All right. All right. Yes, very much. We've definitely got lemons this evening. In more ways than one, Jean. All right, I'm gonna wait for everybody to come back. Because we had two other people and we had to restart the video because there was some upgrades today. Welcome back, Jacqueline. I'm just waiting for my co-host to join back again. Hopefully we can get everything going. But how is everybody's winter solstice going so far? Is anybody doing anything this evening? Yes, we make lemonade. Yes, very much so. We're just going to pretend it's summer and have lots and lots of lemonade. So, all right. Well, I want to go ahead and get started. So I guess while we're waiting for this to all work out, I'm going to show you guys how to make our lemon ginger tea. So we're going back to doing teas. We took a few weeks where we did some hot chocolates. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to do some tea this evening. So I have a pot here, and I have just simply cut up the lemons all whole and everything with seeds, everything in there, because I'm just going to strain it out when it's all said and done anyways. So we're going to go ahead, I'm just going to take the lemons, and I have them with the lemon peel, so I made sure I had organic ones because a lot of the pesticides are in there. But yes, family movie night with tea would be a wonderful thing, Jacqueline. So yeah, we've got our lemons in the pot, and we got those with the skins on because most of the vitamin C is in the skins. And I'm going to go ahead and I've got some ginger here that I'm just going to go ahead and give a quick peel because I don't like to do it with the skin on because I find it's a little bit bitter. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel that off really quick. And as you guys have probably noticed, there's been a lot of ginger in our recipes because it's super good for our digestive system. And so we're going to be adding some ginger to this. And we're going to even up it a little bit farther because we're going to add some turmeric to it as well. And I have some fresh turmeric here that I'm going to be adding, but you could also very easily add the dried turmeric as well. So, all right. So we've got some ginger, and I'm just going to cut that into some nice points. I'm using about an inch, and you could use about a teaspoon of the dry stuff, but I will repost the recipe, you guys, so you guys will have that as well. I'm going to try one more time to see if I can send an invite. Oh, hi Julie, thanks for joining. We're just making our tea this evening. All right, and my co-host is going to join here, I hope, here soon. Oh, they're saying something about you upgrading, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But yeah, I'm making the tea, and I've got the ginger and the lemon in there. I've got an organic lemon, so I've got the skin on there, and I've got all the delicious vitamin C that's in there. I also have some fresh turmeric that I'm going to be adding as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and give that a quick peel as well. If you've never seen fresh turmeric, it looks very similar to ginger because it's a root. And you'll see its beautiful orange color. So we're just going to give that a quick peel and go ahead and get that going. So we've got a lot of things that are super awesome for our gut health in tonight's tea. So we've got the turmeric here, which is going to be wonderful for our digestive system and for any sort of inflammation that we might have. But it's also really great just because we ultimately have a lot of digestive issues as a culture because of the things that we eat and eating a lot of processed foods. So, alright, and we've got all that in the pot, so you guys can see it's already very, very colorful. And I have 2 cups of water here that I'm going to go ahead and put right over the top of this. And if you wanted, you could totally, because it's that time of year, you could totally add a cinnamon stick to that too. Don't have to, but it's also really great for inflammation and any sort of digestive issues. So we're just going to go ahead and put that on the stove and simmer. Alright, so we've got our tea on. So we've got our lemon, our ginger, and our turmeric in there. And I also threw a little cinnamon stick in it because we are in that time of year. And it's also really great for our digestive system. Alright, you guys. So, as you guys can see, it's a little bit different this evening. But we're going to kind of roll with it. Hopefully we can maybe figure this out as we go along. So we've got our turmeric tea on the stove with our lemon and our ginger. And I'm just going to let that simmer for about 10 minutes. So what we were going to talk about this evening was about acidity. And a lot of times when people think of acidity, they think of things being very acidic, like say a lemon, it makes your mouth kind of pucker, or say like apple cider vinegar, like it's very acidic. But when you think about the acidity of your stomach, it needs to be high enough that it's able to properly break down the food you're eating. So a lot of times when people take like an acid blocker, which essentially is what like Tums and Pepcid-AC are, you lower the acidity of your stomach, and in so doing, you make it harder for your body to actually break down the food, which is kind of, you would think is kind of counterproductive, which is why like people are usually on that for a long time and they'll still have some issues. So when we get our tea off the stove tonight, we also have the option of, we could add some honey to it, because I never like to add the honey when it's cooking. I always like to add it once it's kind of cooled down a little bit. And then we could also upgrade it a little bit more and add some apple cider vinegar. I know you might be thinking like, apple cider vinegar, like that's something I don't really want in a beverage, but it actually kind of helps balance everything out with the lemon, and it's just really, really nice. And it's also going to go really great with our cinnamon stick. So we've got our tea going, and I wanted to talk a little bit this evening about the color yellow. And it's in that same family with dealing with inflammation, just like kind of the orange family, a lot of the same things. But I wanted to go a little bit into depth on that and just talk about like certain components that are in certain yellow produce. If I'm having any sort of digestive issues, I really, really like to use pineapple. Pineapple is really good. Like if I feel a cold or anything coming on, I immediately go and get like a fresh pineapple. If I can get a nice, really good one that's nice and fresh and like is actually sweet, because a lot of times, because it's not really the season, you gotta be really careful. But pineapple is so good because it's got bromelain in it, and bromelain is something that helps your bodies kind of break things down and everything. It's a digestive enzyme, so it helps it kind of break everything down. So if I'm having problems, then like pineapple is like my go-to thing, in addition to like my turmeric and my ginger. Like you haven't seen pineapple because it's not really the time of year, but when we get into the warmer months, when it's more in season, you're going to see a lot of pineapple in our teas because it's so good. We might have to do some cold teas. Those will be delicious. But also, when you think about yellow produce, you think about bananas, and bananas are really high in potassium, but so are lemons. And lemons are really, really great for potassium levels too, which you don't really think about. You always think, oh, a banana is really high in potassium. But you can also get really wonderful benefits from a lemon or a pineapple, or even like yellow beans or yellow squash. So we're going to give our tea a little bit of a stir. And whenever I am doing anything with turmeric, I always want to make sure the spoon that I'm using is not one that I'm worried about it getting stained. So I'm not using my fancy wooden spoons today because I don't want to dye them, because it will change the color of your spoons. So just be mindful of that whenever you're working with turmeric. Bromelain, digestive enzymes, yes. And let's see, I love yellow, but not a pineapple. So if you were wanting to think of something else, and I know you love it, would be mangoes, Jacqueline. Mangoes are also really good, and they're in that yellow family too. And so they also have it. Also, if you like papayas, that's also got a really great digestive enzyme. They actually sell papaya tablets, which when I'm having any sort of issues, like I take those after I eat, and they help like everything. Most of us are low on digestive enzymes. I don't know if we talked about it when we talked about greens, but greens also have naturally occurring digestive enzymes, which is why they're so good for keeping things going. So yes, you love your mangoes. And Jacqueline likes her mangoes with the skins on, which I'm not a fan of, but every now and then a little bit of fiber from the skins is good. So, alright, let's see, what else did I want to share with you guys this evening? Oh, yellow is also really good for antioxidants. And antioxidants are oftentimes very good because they help slow things as far as like aging. It also helps lower our cholesterol. Yes, so we're gonna definitely be like very mindful of those things, because we definitely want to make sure we're slowing the aging process, because as we age, if we're not taking very good care of ourselves, then we'll start to have more issues, which is really good if we're eating all the yellow produce, because it really helps with our joints. So if you have any sort of like sore joints when you wake up in the morning, yes, she has 2 accounts. It'll help your joints and everything be a little bit more lubricated. Also, yellow is really great for your eyesight as well. Yes, great for slowing down the aging and the cholesterol. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about this evening? Oh, potassium is really great for heart health too. So I know we're not quite into February where they talk about heart health, but yellow is not usually a color you associate. You always think of the red produce, but the yellow is also very good for our hearts and keeping them very well. Also, we're almost into January, and everybody's mind obviously goes towards like certain things as far as getting in shape and maybe losing a few pounds, and yellow is great for that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a stir, and it's kind of coming to a nice simmer back here. So I'm actually going to turn it off because it's starting to steam, and I'm just going to let that sit there for a moment and kind of steep a little bit more. I'm going to have a little bit of it during the video just so I can try it and you guys can see how delicious it is, and be very jealous that you don't have it if you're not making it with me. So, all right. So the other thing we were going to talk about this evening was we were going to talk about the winter solstice, which is this evening, and we're talking about, I think many people have heard about the planets and everything, but what I wanted to kind of touch upon this evening is, like, as humans, and especially in the world we live in today, it's go, 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 go. But if you think about winter, everything slows in nature. Everything goes dormant in nature, and there's that resting period, and it's very important that nature has time to rest, and it's very important that we take that cue from nature and go, we're supposed to also take time to rest and do what we need to do. You wouldn't take a plant and plant the seed in the ground and then expect to be able to get like fruit off of it a week later. Like, you've got that seed in the ground, and it's in the dark, and it doesn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's not till several months later that you actually see that light. And we have to realize that there are going to be some darkness, and that's okay, and to have that pause is a necessary part of life. And I was reading an email today, and it put it very beautifully, and it talked about winter being an incubation period. So as you're thinking about your New Year's resolutions, don't think of it as something where you have to like sprint to the finish line, like immediately. You got to get everything done in January, and you have to do everything. because that's not how nature is. Nature like does a little bit by little bit by little bit, and that's how it's sustainable. And we as humans want to make everything and do everything at once, and it's not possible. Nature can't even do it. Why would we expect us to be able to do it? So it talks about the incubation period, and kind of like an egg hatching. You wouldn't like force the egg out of the shell. You give it its time, and you got to do the same thing for yourself. And so part of this time of year is taking that time for yourself, making sure you're caring for yourself, making sure that you're showing up the way that you need to show up for yourself. Because if we don't show up for ourselves, we can't show up for anybody else. And it's something that we have to fight through our culture because we're conditioned to not think in that way. But I challenge you to go ahead and take a moment and really think about how you can pause this time of year and kind of slow down and show up for yourself. Yes, very much so. We've got to show up for ourselves because a lot of times we're the only people who will show up for ourselves. And we have to take that time and take that care. And we're the only people in our body experiencing what we're feeling and everything to know like when we need to slow down. Other people around us don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on in our life. They might have some glimpse into it, but they really don't know. You're the person experiencing that experience. And so taking the time to slow down and to really like be in that moment. So yeah, so this is our Monday Night Live, and I'm gonna grab the tea and we're gonna see where it's at, and I'm gonna give it a little taste. Alright, so I've got my tea here, got my spoon. I'm gonna give it a little taste and see where it's at. It still needs to go a little bit longer. I want it to steep a little bit more. But that's the thing I love about teas, though, is if I don't drink them, not eat them, you could eat them, drink them right away, you can go ahead and let them steep. Sometimes I will let those kind of aromatics kind of sit in there, and I will let that steep. I might even do that overnight so they really, really get the flavor, and then strain it out and then heat it up in the mornings, which is probably what I'll do because I'll show you guys how the wonderful things. Let's see. What does the AC do with the lemon and the vinegar? It is really good for our digestive systems. So the apple cider vinegar is, I'm sure many people know how wonderful apple cider vinegar is. It's super antibacterial, which is really good for our digestive system and everything. And I like to add it once it's kind of simmered a little bit because it's also a probiotic, which is super wonderful because we always need more probiotics in our diet, but we also need to make sure that we're getting a prebiotic with that. So if you don't know what a prebiotic is, that's basically things with fiber that feed the probiotics because there's a whole relationship with them. And they need one and the other together to like work. Kind of like many things in life. We need each other to work together. So, yeah. Well, you guys, I hope you guys had a wonderful evening this evening with our turmeric, ginger, lemon tea. And I hope you guys will find ways this week to go ahead and add a little bit of yellow to your meals. And that could be as simple as adding a little bit of lemon juice to your salad, a little bit of lemon to your water or your tea in the morning. It's very simple to get some lemon in there. Or some pineapple or mango to your smoothies. That's always a great way too. I even like a little bit of lemon in some of my soups. It's really delicious too. So, how to turn it alkaline? Yes, so the apple cider vinegar will help turn the stuff alkaline. And we want to have our bodies be alkaline because disease cannot be in an environment that is alkaline. So it's when we're below in our acidity and we're too high that disease like ultimately spreads and festers. So ultimately you want to make sure that you're getting enough of these natural acidic things in your diet, and that will keep you nice and alkaline. So that's why you want to make sure you got your lemons in there, you got your apple cider vinegar, lime juice is also really great for that as well. You want to make sure that you've got your alkaline where you need it to be. So, alright you guys, well I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'll be back here on Wellness Wednesday, and I'll be talking a little bit more about the color yellow and a little bit more about getting ready for the end of the year and doing it in a very holistic way where we're not pushing ourselves too hard. And this is one that's always really hard for me, because you want to push yourself like so much, and you got to be really, really careful so that you're making sure you take time for yourself and not overdo it. So again, just make sure you get a little bit of yellow onto your plate this week, and you can always share your photos with hashtag healthy chef to order on your plates. I always appreciate that. Alright you guys, well I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys back here on Wednesday. Have a good evening. Bye.